Thank you all. It's a pleasure to be before you today. Henry Giasson. So my background, 24 years in the military. My last assignments were in operations. In operations, you oversee not only the funding of, but the application of the funds and the resourcing for a unit. In my case, it was a unit of about 750 people with a multi-million-dollar budget. And, you know, much as one of the other candidates who served said, your budget changes based on who's in office and based on what's going on and based on what the mission is. So you had to adjust very quickly on the fly and often had to do more with less. One of the things that I'm looking for is I'm always looking for efficiencies. You know, so there's an old statement that says lower spending equals lower taxes, and part of that is true. The other part of that is true. The other part that's true is that to get more taxation money, you have to have varied streams of income. Right now, we're at a really critical point in Goffstown's time where our plan right now is not sustainable. I've lived in this town for 5 years, and in that 5 years, my property tax has gone up almost $5,000, almost $1,000 a year. I am retired on a fixed income. It is not sustainable. I've had to have the conversation with my lady that in 5 years, if this continues, we're going to leave New England. And it's true. It's because it's not sustainable. So how do we turn this back and look at things? Well, we've heard candidates discuss that we need to look at the viability of bringing in businesses. That's true. Business and industry actually provide more to the tax burden while using less resources than actual property owners. So that's important. We also need to look at what we're going to do to be in front of the housing crisis and possibly look at zoning in the town. We need to look at places where we can increase the revenue stream to take it off the backs of the taxpayers. If we're not willing to look at those things, then we also have to acknowledge that we may need to dial back. And by dial back, you know, I do not ever want to be in a circumstance where we're talking about reducing emergency services, reducing any services. But if it's not sustainable at this growth model and we don't have other revenue streams coming in, we are not going to be able to grow without pricing people out, and we're not going to be able to shrink because we need to hang on to the services. We've heard people in the past say that they're offended by looking at line items in certain departments. I can promise you that if I'm on the budget committee, I won't be offended by being asked to look at anything. Your job is to look at every single thing and find out where you can find more efficiencies, where you can find better processes, maybe if there's a different contract bidding process or any other number of things to try to bring down the outpay in order to keep more of that money into investing into our own maintenance and in order to keep it back in the taxpayer's pocket ultimately. So to that end, that is why I'm running, is because I really want to maintain my retirement home here. I really want to continue to be a part of this vibrant community. I love Goffstown, and I think that we can find a way to provide for our town without putting it on the backs of the homeowners entirely.